Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode 39 of the Locker Room Life podcast. As you can see, the boys are here. Two of the boys are together. Our boy, Owen Baker, still in his lonesome, but we're here anyway. Joined here by my brother, Logan Kuva, who is visiting the desert dog, me, here in Arizona. But a lot going on, boys, in the hockey world, in life. Can't wait to dive into it. Where are we starting?
Everyone, it's great to be back. Frank, Logan, great to see you guys together. Wish I could be out there with you, but for the past couple weeks, been a little bit MIA and missed a playoff run, and our season just abruptly came to an end, which was tragic. And it's been a long year and lots of ups and downs, but grateful for it all. And I had to share a little bit of a nightmare story we had, but after the game Saturday, our intention was to bus back from Mankato, Minnesota to Houghton, Michigan. Just for a little bit of reference for those of you who don't know, it's a good 8 hours, I'd say, with an hour time change ahead. So there was a big storm coming in and we thought we could beat it, but turns out we could not. And we got about an hour or two out. We're in the middle of the cities and decided to stay overnight. And they told us, okay, hey, we're going to try to make it tomorrow. And 8 a.m. we're leaving. So we got on the bus, the sleeper bus, and just started making the trek and didn't end up getting home till 6:30 p.m. Sunday. So I'm definitely bagged, fellas. But at the end of the day, it is what it is.
Kid, you're here. You're here. That's all that matters. You're buzzing. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so excited to be here with Frankie. It's been amazing. He's the best host in the world. Beautiful, sunny Arizona. I want to live here forever. A Locker Room Life is going to plan a relocation to Arizona after our prior commitments are done. But things are great. Just super busy with work. It's nice to unplug and be here, spend time with my good friend, and obviously have a little fun with the podcast too. So good. There's crazy stuff in the hockey world going on. There's so many things to talk about and so many things that are just running rampant right now as playoffs are coming in for college hockey, for pro hockey, for juniors. It's a really, really fun time as everyone gears up for the last push of the season.
Yeah, just kind of parlaying off a huge week in Minnesota, then coming home, then kind of get into this. I'm gassed. There's so much going on. And like we said, I can't believe it's March already. And once we kind of get into this exciting time of hockey as a whole, right? Playoff hockey. It's funny to think. It's crazy to think that playoff hockey is literally around the corner. College is kicking into full gear. Obviously, we just passed a weekend where they're going through a lot of their conference championships, a lot of huge semi-upsets. It's good for the game. It's good to have some different people winning some huge games. So the implications of the whole college hockey layout, I think we're going to talk more next episode once things kind of open themselves a little bit more heading into tournament time. But no, it's been good. It's been good to have my brother Logan here, just Casa de Berenger, just soaking up the 90-degree weather. We were just at the pool today, so just being able to kind of take it all in, and it's been really good. The biggest thing is just it's fun to have people in your own element and, you know, get an understanding of everything, right? Life in Arizona is awesome. It's beautiful, but at some points it's like hot as hell, but hey, it could be worse, right? It could be when Bakes had to get his car out of the snow when he got back from his road trip. But other than that, no, it's been fun. Just been trying to enjoy it and mix in a little bit of fun with the work we're doing. So that's what life's all about. Bakes, my man. So sorry for the fellas this weekend. Tough loss.
I appreciate that.
Guys, so much going on in the hockey world like we talked about, but we cannot move on without saying an amazing congratulations to Team USA, the Golden Sweep. Paralympics, men's and women's Olympics, all gold. So again, we talk about it all the time of the progression of USA hockey as a whole, but this is just another sign of dominance, and it's just a development, right, guys? It all boils down to the amazing job that USA hockey is doing in regards to development. It's the next generation that's being built with the values, the ethics, the right work ethic to bring them up to these levels, but more importantly, creating an atmosphere where it's inspirational for the younger generation to want to play. I think it's amazing, and keep it rolling.
Dude, I love the love. We were actually just watching the Oscars last night, and I didn't know if you know this, but Bilka and Hillary Knight were both there. It's awesome. These players are getting involved with the pop culture. We talked about it a long time ago with Chuck, but on top of the Golden Sweep, Sweep, congratulations to the sled hockey team. Amazing, amazing feat. But since 2025, all the international tournaments for men's, women's Paralympics, the first ever, they've taken home gold. And the proof is in the pudding. It's amazing. It's really, really cool. As the years keep progressing, it's going to be so interesting with NCAA and Major Junior, and just the whole developmental process is going to change forever. It's going to be ever changing, especially right now in the Wild West.
You look at the Golden Sweep, as we said, and USA, they're in such a good spot right now. Clearly what they're doing is working, and they've only been progressing forward. So all these countries, we talked about it, like the margin is just getting slimmer and slimmer. And for them to be able to pull that off, I don't know when the next time that's going to happen, because that's absolutely crazy.
Boys, and then another hot topic in the league. It addresses on so many levels, player safety, all this stuff, but Radko Gudas, the menace himself, taking out both captains of Team USA and Team Canada. I mean, can't hold anything in the Olympics over his head, but Austin Matthews out for the rest of the season, MCL tear from a knee-on-knee contact from Radko Gudas. And it's just unfortunate to see. I mean, no matter what, it's just upsetting. And prayers go out to Matthews and hopefully a speedy recovery to it. But boys, it's just scary. It really is. It's just one of the many injuries that come with the game. And that's one of the scariest to it, is the knee on knee. I've seen some weird ones in my time where guys are out, could be potentially career enders. It's nuts.
I mean, it's kind of the exclamation point on this season for the Leafs thus far, right?
Yeah.
It's funny when saying goes, when it rains, it pours. And for the Leafs right now, I just can't really explain it. Obviously, you guys know, as a Leafs fan, to just watch this unraveling, it's unreal, because it's almost literally is unreal, because the fact that all of these events are just simultaneously running on top of each other is insane. It started off with just a new, fresh outlook on all levels. I feel like Chief was just a great coach to kind of bring a lot of accountability back to the room. And I felt like a lot of the superstars were falling in line with that. I think the culture was changing right into back the direction that the Leafs wanted to be in, back to the 90s, the days where they were dominant and being able to be team dynamically balanced. But boys, it's not just wins and losses. This is a complete debacle on all levels. The team doesn't even seem like a team. Obviously, there was separate incidents with Nylander himself. He's a bigger personality on the team. It's just completely just unraveled, and I really don't have any words for it. But then you look at your top guy just being done for the season. I hate to say it's time to pack it in, but it's time to pack it in.
Definitely pouring out for Leafs fans. Your captain goes down, and I thought initially when it happened, which was a little crazy for me, you see your captain go down, you expect someone to kind of go after this guy, and you didn't really see that, which was a little shocking. And I don't know what's there to really tell about that. But as for Radko Gudas, not intentionally trying to hurt anyone, but he has that kind of reputation, and there's guys in the league like that. And as far as player safety in the league goes, they want to protect their players as best as they can, but I mean, these injuries and these circumstances, they're going to happen, and it's just really unfortunate.
Boys, I'm just going to let you know right here, if Radko Gudas took you down, Frankie, knee on knee, I'm going to stick up for you, but it's going to take a lot of nuts to do that. It is going to take a lot of cojones to get up there and pull Radko Gudas around and start fighting him. So, like, Leafs are obviously known as not the mean, tough guys in the league. So I do kind of, but Base, you have an amazing point of that's where the team chemistry comes in. Who's going to go for each other in the room?
To me, it's unexcusable. I know Morgan Riley stepped up and said, hey, on my watch, that's unacceptable that would happen, but it's an accountability thing, it's not even a question. It doesn't even matter who it is. It doesn't even matter if the guy's going to get his face pumped shut. It's a matter of the unspoken code of hockey. You stick up for your teammates at all costs. So it's just a microcosm of this whole season. I'm sure there's things more in disarray that are happening and unfolding in the locker room. We've all been in locker rooms that have been part of winning cultures and unfortunately losing cultures as well. And we all know that those things that are happening on the ice are a byproduct of a lot of things that are happening behind the scenes that nobody has any idea of. So if there was something that kind of comes out later on of some turmoil happening, I would not be surprised. Boys, 2028, we asked, they delivered. The World Cup of Hockey is returning. I am so damn excited, but there's some locations here, so it's going to be amazing. So it's going to be in Prague, and then the other cities are going to be in Edmonton and Calgary as well. So this is a really cool dynamic to it too, because again, from the point of view of growing the game on all levels, diversifying the game, growing the game in different markets, I think this is amazing. They did this a little bit with the last World Cup as well. So being able to kind of change some scenery, change some for some teams change some juju. I think it's going to be a really great moment for hockey to just continuously grow. But any time that we can have these events that are bringing best on best, representing their country, we just came off a year where we saw it in full bloom. So I think the NHL is obviously, from a revenue perspective, seeing that there's a lot of huge potential to continuous growth. And I feel like this is just going to be another amazing event.
Frankie, you hit the nail on the head. It's so true. And the fact of they're just going to keep riding the wave, as they should. The hockey is on an uptick right now. And if they can keep putting out these events that keep getting more viewership and more, get whole countries behind these teams, like that's where I think it really separates and becomes more than just a sport. It becomes part of the culture. It becomes part of everything that a country knows. So it's very, very cool to see. Is there any rumbling? Are they going to do Team NA? Are they going to do Team NA with the young bucks under the age of, I think it was like 23 at that point, or 24, and it was like Matthews, McKinnon, McDavid, all on the same team. It would be really cool to see all the young guys if they put that together for Team NA, and they always have some fun stuff up their sleeves with it. And I'm excited that I know Frankie's excited. We just talked about it. 5-on-5. It's ran by the NHL. It's going to be 5-on-5 OT. Sorry, guys. It's going to be ran by the NHL. So it's going to have a lot of the same flavors and the same, I would say, media, because the Olympics media is completely different than the NHL. So it's going to be kind of the same buildup that the NHL does for a lot of their events. It's going to be ran by them. So it's going to be awesome.
It's definitely a no-brainer. This is some of the most exciting hockey that we get to watch, and it only comes around once in a while. And we don't know how the teams are going to look if it goes back to how it originally was, which would be insane. And super excited to see like the jerseys and everything. That's some of the coolest things that I thought. And good for the people of Calgary. We're going to get a sneak peek at a brand new arena coming soon as well. Gary Bettman, why can't we get a host site in the United States? This is bizarre. Okay, just want to throw it out there.
Hey, Big saying he's calling the shot right there.
But guys, the best part of this story, this broke today with the news and the announcement of the event.
Awesome.
Is there's a couple countries that have made a statement. Czechia, Sweden, Finland have said that they will not be sending players to this event if Russia is left out. And this has been something that we've been talking about, because if you have best on best, guys, you cannot have it without Russia. Whatever is going on politically, and we're not going to try to get in the weeds on that, because that's not what we do. What we're talking about is from a hockey aspect. These guys are part of the best on best conversation. And the team that wins, let's be honest, your own good conscience to say that you won. Yes, it's a hard fought win, but you can't do it without Russia. We know at every level, Olympics, World Juniors, to have Russia part of it is always makes it 10 times sweeter to be winning a title when you know that you're competing against the best at the highest level. And Russia has always been the best of the best.
I mean, Frankie, the number one goal scorer of all time in the NHL is Russian. And the fact that you can leave him out of the Olympics, and that's what I'm saying, no politics involved. And these athletes they deserve to be highlighted on this big stage. They've done this their whole lives, and that's what they do. They play to play in the NHL, but to wear your country's flag is so special, and they come from there. That's their roots. And I completely agree. That goalie trio, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. The best in all international hockey could be for Russia. So it's exciting. I'm interested to see what they do.
Politics aside, these guys just want to play hockey, and I hope they can come to some sort of mutual agreement, because like you guys said, it's been quite some time since Russia's actually been able to compete on all levels of hockey, and they're some of the best talent, and every year it's just so fun to watch. So hopefully they can finally be able to partake, and if not, hopefully eventually there comes a time where they can. But other than that, yeah, just hope they can.
Ever developing story. I'm excited to see where the stance comes in here, because where do you really win on this? You're really trying to adhere to something that's going on politically to make a hockey statement, or vice versa. It's a really, really interesting thing that we're diving into, and excited to see how it all kind of pans out. But while we're speaking about Russians, I need to bring up one more damn thing that's just been on my mind, and I told you guys about this. The whole Evgeny Kuznetsov shootout move, this needs to come to an end. Guys, this is getting unbelievable, okay? I need you guys to really think and really give your opinion of this, because it's getting out of hand, okay? He's now looping. Next thing you know, you know what's going to happen next? He's going to just drop out of the stands from a freaking, you know, when they
the
drop
blimp.
off.
They got the blimp. He's jumping off the blimp. And dropping the shirts. Kuznetsov comes down.
Comes out with a cape like he's like in some Vegas show, then swooping in, coming in this slow. This time he literally,
dude.
I'm surprised he just didn't like kick it up with like the toes of his skates. He was going that slow and literally sliding like a little kid that's pushing one of those things that helps him skate. It's getting out of hand, and he's out of the NHL, I know it, but we're all seeing the clips of him doing the same thing in Russia, and I need you guys to chime in on this because I hate it.
I'm so glad you brought it up. And Frank, you hate it because you're a goalie, and you were a goalie, and I imagine how mad you would be doing that, how upset you would be Evgeny Kuznetsov coming down 0.2 miles per hour, just tapping the puck.
It's just... It's stupid.
Listen, I think it's very entertaining. Me, as a player, I think it's very entertaining. He is trudging on the roads a little bit there. It's a little insane, but I do think it's entertaining. That's all I'll say on that.
Bake, be honest.
It's crazy to me that he's going to do it every single time, and he actually has a decent success rate at it. But obviously, Frank, as a goalie's perspective, I think it's almost just so mental in the fact, in that last clip you see, he's just tapping the puck slightly forward. He's not even taking a stride. He's just gliding. And then he comes in last minute and he always does a quick shot coming down as a lefty far side. And like, it's just, he found a way around it, right? Like the puck's moving forward. He's not skating backwards. He's not breaking any rules, but it's bizarre. No one else does it like he does.
All I can say is next thing you know, he's going to be busting out of the boards like the Kool-Aid man. And it's getting out of hand. Somebody's got to do something. Somebody's just got to just take him out. Like, I mean, somebody just has to take him out before he starts doing that and just take the implications.
Just Michiganing you in the shootout. Just coming around the net.
It has to end.
Ladies and gentlemen, I enjoyed that laugh a lot with talking about Kuzi celebrating. I can just
go.
Besides the point, we talked about him before. You are going to keep hearing this name. I guarantee you. We've said it how many months ago now? 8 months ago, we talked about DuPont. Landon DuPont, Everett Silvertips in the WHL, exceptional status 16-year-old on a 122-point pace in the WHL. And I think this opens up the topic of, not only DuPont, of course, this hype on him. We talked about that before. He's definitely going to be a high regarded guy. But in the past 20 games since January 30th, he has 36 points and he's plus 30 as a defenseman, might I add. So he is extremely dynamic. And the WHL keeps putting out this talent. Gavin McKenna, Connor Bedard, Landon DuPont. And it's just interesting where everything's going to go. Frankie, I know you're going to talk about the NIL, but the colleges and where they're going to go, like how these things are going to pool and kind of translate together now that rule is in place. So all these stud guys from Canada are going to make their way over here. And I'm calling that now. I think it's going to be a part of the development is coming to the NCAA if they're not going directly to the NHL.
Well, we all know highest premium is a right-handed mobile defenseman, right? That's a commodity that's being looked for in the NHL. This kid's got good size, but I think his mobility to the T looks almost like a forward that's converted to D. That's how, from an edge control standpoint, from his nose for the net. But I think the bigger question is just like what Logan said. It's going to be interesting where the lottery begins for these big schools. I mean, we're living in an NIL time frame where everybody wants the best prospects, but I think more importantly, it's really the bragging game, I think. It's unfortunate because a lot of these players are trying to make the best decisions for themselves and they are trying to financially set themselves up. But a lot of schools, and let's be honest, it's going to turn into the school wants them because they say that they can get them from the CHL. And it's really not even about the player anymore. It's really just the bragging rights to say, well, take another one for college because we took another top prospect in the CHL. So I hope that's not the case. But at the same point, Landon DuPont, whatever decision he makes, he's going to be making the right one for his future because whichever which way you cut it, even if he does leave, he's going to be in a nice NIL deal. So, I mean, I guess you could say everybody wins, but I don't know, up for debate.
Yeah, being an exceptional status guy, he's definitely lived up to his hype. Right-handed defenseman, the numbers he's been putting up is ridiculous. His highlights are unbelievable. And for only being an 09, it makes you think, as we mentioned, does he transfer over to college hockey and start at working his way up towards the NHL? As we all know, he's not even draft eligible yet. So he's got a lot of time ahead of him, and the ceiling's very high, but we might see one of those transitions where kind of like what McKenna did and leading up to his draft year. So we'll have to see for sure.
I think even when you peel the onion back more, guys, it's just such a interesting conversation to think about what you said, Frank, of the competition meter between the NCAA and the OHL. Is that what it's just going to turn into? Because I can tell you from where we're able to see behind the scenes with Bakes, with the other people that we know, that's where it is right now. And it's like, okay, they're competing. It's a competition, and it's always been a competition, but now even more, it's crazy. And now NCAA is going to come into that mix. It's always been USHL, OHL, but now the NCAA is that big powerhouse going against the OHL. And the bidding for this kid is just going to be like a prize pony. It's just how it's going to be. It's going to turn into how you see football. You see these kids with these amazing NIL deals just because of the uptick in hockey. What we were talking before, the business, it's going to keep growing, and fans are going to keep coming to the game. So, and that kid's going to keep drawing eyes. So it's very, very interesting on so many different levels.
I still am waiting for the next shoe to drop in regards to the regulation side of this NIL situation. If you think about it, we had Sean Hogan on from College Hockey Inc. His perspective was actually pretty interesting in regards to these players are going to be employees of these universities, which at least is some kind of commitment of stability of them being able to have them in their programs for more than 1 year. It's going to start really getting so dicey in regards to these massive NIL deals from these massive schools. And then these kids are just going to leave. So it's ever developing and it's ever changing, but still at this point that we're talking about it, there has been no change. To see these top prospects, what they're going to be doing, a lot of VCs getting behind a lot of these universities, it's a business investment. So these tickets are going to get even bigger, especially with the notoriety of hockey growing. College hockey is going to be just up there and being able to pay some pretty heavy price tags for a lot of these top prospects for them to come play. So interesting to see what's going to develop.
And those VCs want their money back. They want that return.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys, just kind of a little fun topic for you. Quite frankly, the most hottest team in the league right now, the Buffalo Sabres. Some media was happening behind the scenes. They asked Rasmus Dahlin, what's the secret to this win streak? Why are the guys on such a high? What's going on with the camaraderie? And he basically just said, beers with the boys. In hindsight, you might be thinking, what is this guy talking about? But fellas, if you get it, you get it. And whatever they're doing, the camaraderie is great and it's working. And I'm so excited to finally see the Buffalo Sabres in the playoffs, if everything goes well, for the first time in a really long time.
Dude, what a bone for the city of Buffalo. It has been. Next year will be even more than the Leafs. They have been the bottom of the bin for so long. And to see this is really, really cool, honestly. And it's good for New York hockey. I mean, Rangers aren't having the best stint in the world right now, but the Islanders are ripping and the Sabres are ripping. So it's really cool to see. But boys, it doesn't get any better than that. People talk about different sports cultures, but I will say that being able to talk to any hockey guy, beers don't even have to be involved. Just being able to hang out with the hockey guys and being able to sit in the hotel room and just talk about life and hockey and random things. Those are, I feel like I say it almost every podcast, but it's what I miss the most about hockey. And that's why I love doing this with you guys. It feels like we're in the locker room. Well, look at that. And those beers after a nice win really bring guys a lot closer together. And I can only imagine at the NHL level, you have kids at home, you have families at home. It's kind of your chance to unplug and be friends with these guys, your teammates and your warriors and your brothers together all the time, and turn it off and just be friends and just sit down and talk about random stuff and crack a 6-pack with your buddy in the room. That's the secret to the best teams in the world. Literally what we were talking about before. Behind the scenes, if you guys are buzzing, you're going to be buzzing on the ice.
We come from the hockey culture, but I feel like it's been a known fact even across all major sports. Hockey players love to get dinners together because hockey teams are small enough to where you can get everybody out to a dinner. And yes, it's still manageable to have everybody there. And those are the times that we're bonding and talking about everything. And like Logan said, it's your time away from your family. It's the times you look forward to, but it's funny because you're subconsciously like building these amazing relationships with guys that are not even on the hockey level at that very moment. But those things translate to your respect level and your team unity that is brought onto the ice. And there's a reason why beer league is called beer league. It's literally synonymous with the camaraderie that beers bring with like hanging with the guys. And it's really just more of bringing that community together, right? Sitting down, taking a moment, and we know there's some younger players in the NHL, but I can guarantee you even the young guys like Mac and Will Smith and those guys, yeah, they may be a little bit younger, but they're still going out to dinner with the boys, hanging with the boys, being able to let them know who they really are. And I still think that that's one of the most endearing things that hockey brings, being able to bring the guys together on that level, being able to understand each other. And for Buffalo, Jesus, have you been to Buffalo? I love Buffalo to death. I'm from Toronto and I fly to Buffalo all the time. But God, it's good to see some winning happening in that city. And I saw an amazing clip of just a Sabres game when they took down the Lightning 8-7, which is an absolutely nuclear game. That building felt like the 90s. The Tim Connolly, the Hasek, the 90s, where that was the heyday of the Sabres. And being able to see that energy in that city, in that building. And Lindy Ruff, he kind of said it earlier in the season, which was, we're just trying to take it a day at a time, and we're just trying to stack up wins. And I feel like just being able to get everybody on board and just believing in themselves again, team camaraderie, bringing the beers back. Buffalo's buzzing. It's good to see him.
Probably mix some buffalo wings in there too. They got some good wings at Buffalo.
Guys, what an interview we have this week. Luca DeMontis, general manager of Blind Hockey Canada. I was blown away. And I wasn't only just blown away by the fact of what blind hockey is as a whole, the fundamental game of it within itself, but I always am very humbled to bring on people on this platform that are actually changing the game. Luca is building it on a larger level, and I can't thank him enough for just growing this game that we love so much.
Frankie, it's so true, and you'll hear it in the interview, but it starts with family, and it starts with trying to fulfill his brother's dream of being able to do this and have it be accessible for everyone to be able to play hockey no matter what. And it's so cool on the fundamental side. Think about it. For our listeners, if you're listening to me right now, think about putting a blindfold on and going to play a hockey game. It is crazy to even think about, and the athletes are awesome, and just the passion that you hear in Luca's voice when talking about it, it's extremely special. So keep a watch for blind hockey. They're going to be worldwide very, very soon, and he talks about that.
Yeah, I just want to thank Luca again, and what he's doing is obviously super awesome and special to see, and it's just one of those things in the hockey world where, you know, hockey is for everyone, and for them to be able to include everyone and just to be able to be a part of that game is so special. And I will say too, I learned a lot as far as the aspect side of it, and it was really awesome to see, and it was inspiring for sure.
Without further ado, Luca DeMontis, general manager, Blind Hockey Canada. Hope you guys enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Locker Room Life podcast. Honored to be joined by Luca DeMontis, General Manager of Blind Hockey Canada, somebody that is making a true growth in the community of hockey, and we're so honored to have him with us. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys. Looking forward to this.
So as we do with every guest, this wonderful game of hockey, and we talked about in the pre, always nice to have a fellow Torontonian on this podcast. Break it down for us. When did this love of hockey and hockey develop for you?
It's always good to be connected with another person from Toronto for sure. But I think being from Toronto, but more importantly, just being from Canada, it's in your blood at birth. As Canadians, it's just a rite of passage. It's something we know, and it's something from a very young age. I can't even tell you how young I was, to be honest. Fell in love with the sport, but fell in love more with the aspect that it's bigger than a sport, right? It creates so many outlets, friendships, values, skills, like you can just go on, right? And community, the importance of it. From a very young age, growing up in this city, my dad never played the game. He was an immigrant. He came to Canada from ways of Italy. So I did play a lot of soccer also growing up, but you know what? My dad fell in love with the game of hockey when he came here to Canada. And he just thought, you know, it was something so amazing and symbolic about a team just gathering together to go out there for one common goal and be better than the other team, right? And he was a big believer. Not only are you going to be better than that team on the ice and beat them on the ice, but you're going to beat them off the ice also, be a better person than they are. From a very young age, it was instilled in us, be a great teammate, but be a better person. Right? And I think without hockey, I don't think I would have been either of those, really.
Amazing answer. And I noticed that you said us. Talk about how influential your brother Mark, I know you work with him now, in the early stages of your life, and, you know, getting into blind hockey and what it is now. Just kind of walk us through that path.
I could be very honest. My brother was always better than I was. He had a lot more opportunities, a lot more growth in the game, and he had a lot more promise for sure than I did. So it was kind of strange when at 17, he was declared legally blind. All he knew was hockey. That was the future, right? Head down to the States, go to college, and then try to do something after that, right? So at 17, when that changed his life, it really shifted his dynamic into thinking, well, no more me, me, me. Now, what about others? What about other children and youth that were born blind or have become blind or partially sighted over time? What are their outlets? What are they doing, right? So very quickly, it shifted from a him mentality to it's time to grow a community and build a family here, right? And there's not many kids at his age. I believe at that point, I think he was 20 years old when he started the organization, Courage Canada. Through some inspiration from a great Canadian hero in Terry Fox, he came up with the idea that he was going to rollerblade across the country and raise awareness and raise funds to create Courage Canada, which then grew from Courage Canada into what we are today, Canadian Blind Hockey. So that was in 2009, a trip of a lifetime. We thought we were finished. In 2011, he comes up with this other genius idea. Well, let's finish the country now and go from Halifax, where Dad immigrated to Toronto. And now we could say that the team skated across the country to raise funds and awareness, right? So that was in 2011. Brings us now to 2026, and to see the growth in this orientation of time of the organization, of us as people, of just the sport, I think is amazing, right? It's a different dynamic. Of course, earlier in the stages of all this, he was the big boss, right? He was the founder, he was the president, and he always had a goal of getting the organization to a place where he could really just become a player in the community, right? He's on our Canadian national blind hockey team. He wears number 9 for Team Canada. He's a player that is in the Canadian Blind Hockey Hall of Fame as a builder, but I think his end goal from the beginning was to create an opportunity for other children and youth and then other adults that were blind and partially sighted to play the game that we all love, right? And it doesn't matter I always say this, let your disability be your ability to be able to partake in this sport. It's a great dynamic we have. We're always bouncing ideas off each other. He says he's just a player now, but he's probably our most vocal player with all his ideas and suggestions and connections. So there's never a dull moment at a family dinner whenever we're all together back at Mom and Dad's house.
That's so amazing. And I kind of want you to take us back, right? Because we've been honored to have a lot of people that are part of development and growth of the game we love. And as you're embarking down this path, when does it become something that's a great cause, but it truly becomes a mission? And that's really what this is, because it's a mission that's developed into an amazing growth development for the game of hockey. So when was that kind of pivotal transition point where you guys thought, hey, this is a true impact into creating something amazing to grow the game in a new channel?
I think I saw the mission in my brother. And when I saw the adversity and the courage he had to go through doctor's appointment after doctor's appointment, after hearing this news that doctor after doctor telling you you'll never be able to drive, you'll never be able to play hockey again. And to him, that was, no, you can't take that away from me, right? So it's actually a crazy story, to be honest. When I was 8 years old and my brother was 6 years old, my dad brought us to a charity game. And that charity game was our minor hockey league coaches at Weston Minor Hockey, Weston Arena, were playing against the Toronto Ice Owls. And back then, the Toronto Ice Owls were the only blind hockey team in the world. So we fast forward from my brother being 6, me being 8, to my brother lost his sight at 17. Right away, that light switch went off in my dad's head. And he was like, hey, remember, there was that blind hockey team that your coaches played against. So within a couple weeks after my brother losing his sight, he was in contact with them. So that love never kind of stopped. It kept increasing. And then all it took for him was to go out and meet that group and see that it was possible. And then I knew the mission was started. Whatever he had his mind set to, he wasn't going to take no for an answer, right? So when he said he was going to rollerblade across the country, sure, let's do it. When you're going to create a non-for-profit organization at 20 years old, yeah, let's do it. What help as the big brother can I provide to ensure you can get this done? And you know what? It stems bigger than our family. Amazing support from our community, cousins, uncles, aunts. Everybody was ready to do whatever they had to do, right? So that's huge. And even to this day, the community is just growing and growing in numbers, on ice, off ice. So it's, seeing the passion and seeing that mission in him, it became instilled in me.
That's amazing, brother. I am so happy that my brand, Best Damn Tape, has been able to be involved with Blind Hockey Canada and do awesome things with them. And I got to ask, at those early stages, how is it like organizing those tournaments and going to those first things and really getting it off the ground and getting it started and starting a whole new movement behind a whole country?
Goes back to having a great team. Not one person can do this alone. We've got an incredible team, incredible volunteers, incredible board of directors. My internal team with our executive director, Matt Morrow, and like our marketing comms manager, Mel Carey. Like I don't do all this by myself. It's not possible. So having an incredible team is the first step. It's something to be said when there's no template. It's not like, hey, this is how you got to create this product. This is the steps to market it. Then you sell it. People are going to buy it. You reinvest that revenue. No, there was no template. There was no framework. There was none of that, right? So did we fail in certain aspects? No, we probably just learned a lesson, but it was exciting. It was cool. And it's still cool because I think seeing the growth lets us know we're doing something right. So let's continue to do it, right? And I think internally as a program director side, like one of my goals is I want to get more kids on the ice every single year. At the end of this season, if we could say we had more kids get on the ice this year than last year, let's go. That's a win. Now, how do we increase that next year? Is it through a marketing campaign? Is it working with the local teams? Is it maybe partnering with a major hockey organization just to spread the word, right? Because a lot of our players, first thing they say to me, I never knew about blind hockey. And it makes me wonder, well, damn, I'm not doing a good enough job. What can we do that's better that these people could hear about us, right? So when we partner with the NHL and we got Sidney Crosby putting on a vision simulator goggle and testing out the vision of what my brother has and shooting our blind hockey puck, that's huge. That's going to help us create more awareness and more people find out about the game, right? But I get some emails that are just amazing. Like, hey, I grew up playing hockey my whole life, but I haven't played in the last 20 years since I lost my vision. And I just found out about this. Can I play? Yes, of course you can. And this is why the organization was created, off that mission that despite your age, with your disability, we've got a way for you to play this game that we all love.
That's amazing. Luke, I want to kind of dive into the fundamentals of blind hockey. I know you touched on the puck, and for all the listeners, I kind of wanted you to describe equipment, just different things that are entailed in blind hockey.
Yeah, so all the equipment's the exact same. Full face shields are mandatory for safety, of course. Every piece of equipment is the same, but we do have a couple of adaptations equipment is how we refer to them, right? So the puck is larger. Inside, it's made of hollow steel. So inside, there's ball bearings that move around the puck, which allow players with the ability with lower vision to hear where it is on the ice by tracking it. Another cool adaptation is our nets. Compared to the traditional 4 foot in height nets, our nets are 3 feet in height because when the puck is in the air, it makes very minimal noise. And then this adaptation truly makes the sport inclusive for all. So because at any given moment on the ice, there's a wide range of visual impairment, including the goalies who are completely blind. So everybody on the ice is legally blind to completely blind. So when a team is attacking and they pass the blue line in the offensive zone, the offensive team must make one successful pass to their teammate. At that point, the referee will blow a high-pitched whistle. What that high-pitched whistle indicates, first off to the defensive goalie, that the other team now has the opportunity to shoot the puck. And then also to the defensive team, now let's really get ready because the other team is in scoring opportunity. Without that whistle, the goalie who's completely blind and the low vision players on the defensive team do not know if it's their team or the other team that has the puck. So you'll watch a game and friends tell me all the time, oh, he's on a breakaway. What's he doing? It's like, well, he's got to make that pass because the goalie does not know if that's his teammate or the other teammate who has the puck. So to level the field and to make it not only accessible, but inclusive for all visual impairments, I thoroughly think that's one of the greatest rules in all of sport. Like I'll say that, like that makes this sport accessible for an individual with 10% vision to an individual with no vision at all. And I think that's one thing that the huge kudos to like all the stakeholders, all the players in the community that helped come up with a rule like that, right? Because the last thing you want is a player who's on the borderline of legally blind at 10% vision, starting off behind their net and just dangling everybody and tucking it home and the goalie not knowing who had the puck, right? That's not how you grow a sport. That's not how you build an inclusive sport. And I think that adaptation, what we call the one pass rule, in my mind, honestly, is one of the best rules in all of sports.
I could go off on a tangent here. How how did you figure out to come up with that specific rule?
I can't take credit in that at all. No, not a chance of taking credit in that. It comes down to the players. The players in this community are leaders on and off the ice, like veteran guys that have played this sport for, I don't want to date myself, almost my whole life. You know what I mean? Some of these legends in this sport. And I mentioned Toronto was the first ever team. So Toronto was actually, of all years, one of the first oldest blind hockey teams ever. After Toronto came, and blind hockey teams have the best names. I'm just going to say it. Like, their team names are, so you got the Toronto Ice Owls. After them came out the Montreal Ibu. So Ibu and Ice Owl are the same, just in French. And then came the Vancouver Eclipse and the Calgary Seeing Ice Dogs. So there was these 4 teams.
Great names.
And not one of them knew about the other team. So they only thought they were the only team playing blind hockey in the world. And they were selling themselves like that. So when my brother created Courage Canada, one of the first things he said is like, well, we got to bring these 4 groups to the table, because not only do they only think they're the only teams in this country, they're also playing with their own rules and their own puck. In Montreal, they were playing with like a juice can. And then in Toronto, they were playing with a wagon wheel off a guy's barbecue. So there was different rules, different pucks. So when we brought everybody together, it was the amalgamation of Canadian blind hockey at that point. You know what I mean? All these 4 teams were like, this is incredible. Let's all create one unified set of rules. Let's play with one unified puck, right? And it brought these groups together. But more importantly, you learn a lot more when you listen. As an organization, that's kind of what we did. And we let these players just kind of speak their mind and speak from their experience. I can't put myself in their skates on the ice, but they can really explain to us what would benefit them, right? Like even the goalies. Hey, that's a great idea. Let's make the net a foot shorter. Before we went and got custom nets, we were just putting shot blockers on the top foot. And then now came all the controversy. Well, it hit the shot blocker, went off the goalie and went in the net. If there was no shot blocker, it just would have went over the net. I'm like, okay, here we go. Let's get custom nets made and eliminate this now issue moving forward, right? So constantly learning, constantly growing and developing, but it comes back to the players. No rule, nothing gets created or bypassed without passing it by some key players and stakeholders in this country.
Look, we talk to a lot of players, a lot of people in hockey, and through the course of the journey and development and growth, there's some adversity, some obstacles. Kind of talk about from the point of inception to where we are now in blind hockey. What were the bigger obstacles that you had to deal with in growing it and getting it to this point?
Indirectly, not for myself, but my brother, really. Fundraising's key. You got to fundraise to keep the lights on. So as an organization, non-for-profit, it's even harder. And now we're talking about a sport like blind hockey, which is even more niche. Yeah, it's definitely difficult to fundraise and sponsorship. So in the early days, hearing a lot of no's. But one thing I could say is, the organization took that almost as motivation. What can we do internally to raise funds, right? Date us back to 2021, coming out of the pandemic. A lot of non-for-profits were shutting down, closing doors. For us, we said we're going to come out with our biggest campaign ever, right? We're going to rollerblade across Ontario. And not only are we going to rollerblade across Ontario, we're then going to create programs in cities where we make stops across in Ontario and bring blind hockey to those programs. We raised almost $120,000 doing that in 10 days. It came down to kind of betting on yourself. But yeah, you do hear no in the early inception of the organization, but you got to prove yourself, right? You got to build that brand. You got to build that recognition where when groups see you're doing work with other leaders in the space, they tend to take you a little more serious, I guess, right, at the dinner table. It wasn't easy at the beginning. I think that's what also led my brother to beginning the rollerblade across Canada to raise money. When someone sees you're doing something that serious, they're going to want to get behind it. It's not always roses. Got to battle in the corners, you know what I mean, to get the puck out front, really, right? And I think that matters across all aspects of not just this, but business.
100%. And you guys have done that. I mean, the videos with Macklin and Bedard are some of my favorite videos I've seen NHL post about them using the blind hockey pucks and actually partaking in it. They're amazing. I want to ask you, what does a day-to-day look like as the general manager now, as in the thick of it every single day?
No 2 days are the same. I can tell you right now, today I was consistent of counting socks at storage to make sure we got socks for practice next week. Yeah, no 2 days are the same. You know, I like to get hands-on. I like to have fun with it. For example, after this, I'm heading over, we have a coaches meeting with the national team coaches. So it's really busy right now as we look forward to the upcoming Canadian National Blind Hockey Tournament, March 20th to 22nd in Toronto at Mattamy Athletic Center. In co-injunction with that, we've got the 2026 International Blind Ice Hockey Series featuring Team Canada, Team USA, and Team World. And absolutely one of my greatest honors is being the GM of Team Canada, so I hold that with the utmost pride. So yeah, there's a lot of work right now, a lot of long days these next few weeks going into this event, but it's all worth it. When you could see the smile on a player's face when they're either representing their country or you see a kid playing in his first ever tournament in a youth division, it's why we do what we do, really, at the end of the game.
So much exciting growth and so much in new communities. So kind of talk about some of the development all around Canada, and is it expanding outside of Canada as well into the States?
How we operate as an organization, we've got what we call Try-It Days, where we'll partner with school boards and major junior teams across the country. I'm going to date myself now, but today, the day we're recording, we just hosted one with Upper Canada College. Probably hosted about 22 of them this year across Canada, and they're real cool. I love them for the fact that we get a lot of these children and youth, these students, from their school board for the very first time. So they've never known about blind hockey. They never thought they'd be able to skate, and just to see the courage that they have to get on the ice and overcome that fear. And what do you mean we're on ice? Is it going to melt? And you hear some questions and you build some conversations off them that's just so rewarding. So that's our Try Blind Hockey event. We then have blind hockey teams across the country. We've got 12 teams that fall under the Canadian Blind Hockey umbrella. And then there's about another 10 teams outside the umbrella that we work in partnership with. So those teams span from literally Newfoundland to Victoria. Very grateful to have amazing coaches and program coordinators in every city. And those teams run from either 12 weeks or 20 weeks. And the goal is they finish all on the same weekend. This year it's March 15th, which is the week before the Canadian National Blind Hockey Tournament. So they either have 12 weeks, 16 weeks, or 20 weeks, depending on their program, to develop their skills so they're able to participate in the national tournament. And to see the growth, like speaking just for our team here in Toronto, to see the growth over the 20 weeks, it's remarkable. We've had kids that joined the program this year that have never skated in their life. And now this past week, we were working on where do you stand at a face-off. So it's incredible to see that growth. We then host regional tournaments, our Eastern Regional and our Western Regional. We host our National Blind Hockey Tournament, which is coming up. And then one of the best events we host, and it shows because it's probably one of our longest serving also, is our summer development camp. Our summer development camp, I love it. It takes you back to camp just like almost as if you're playing junior. We provide a real professional approach for all the age groups, the children and youth division, the development division, and then our national team program. So every year we'll get together. It's a big event to host. It's a big event to plan, but it's worth it. We're on the ice probably about 12 hours throughout the week, 2-a-days. Off-ice workouts. It's a lot of fun, right? It lets them really push themselves. The national team program, we're always doing something. If it's not on the ice, if it's off the ice, if it's fitness testing, if it's taking the team rock climbing, or, you know what I mean, going to a Jays game when we're in the city. So it's a lot of fun camp. And to me, it's probably, if not, I would say it is the single quickest form of development. And the reason I say that, it takes longer for a blind and partially sighted person to grasp and understand what to do on the ice than a person full of sight. So the second we're able to get these players on the ice for 12 hours, what we could do and create in terms of an individual progression plan on that ice for those 12 hours, it's just remarkable. We got players coming, hey, my goal this week is I want to stop on my right side. Perfect. Day 2 comes and they're already stopping on the right side. It's like, all right, the next 3 days are a wash. Whatever we do now, it's gravy. So it just comes down to the more you can get on the ice, the more confidence you're going to build. And the more confidence you're playing with, you know your game's just going to flow from there, right? I thoroughly see so much improvement and development during camps. You then see it transpire into that season, right? And it's one of the reasons why we look to host it closer to the end of the summer, because the season's right around the corner and they're just coming into their season with their team. So much confidence, right? So yeah, camp is huge, and we got a great group of coaches and volunteers. And this year we'll be hosting our summer development camp at CNIB Lake Joe. Pretty good when you get off the ice after a 3-hour session and you get to go on a nice boat ride around Lake Joseph. And that's a pretty nice lake up here in Northern Ontario, right? Can't go wrong. And then they've got everything from mini putt, rock climbing, 5-a-side soccer. So there's always some chirping that goes around for sure after practice of who's challenging who in the mini putt or the rock climbing wall or whatever. So it's fun to get the group together. And it just takes you back when you're spending that much time together with your team and your friends. We build that culture and you build that camaraderie where we're just trying to build a family here is really what we're trying to do, right?
It's so cool. And I want you to shed more light on the national tournament. I know you've talked about it to me. I know how professional you treat these athletes and give them that professional national tournament experience coming in to represent their country.
So to touch on the Canadian National Blind Hockey Tournament, we've got an open division, we've got a low vision development division, a children's division, a youth division, and this year we're also hosting a girls and women's showcase game. That's not it, of course. There's many other aspects built into that, but we'll probably have throughout that tournament, roughly right now going through registration, over 150 athletes. That's remarkable, right? That's huge. The growth is massive because 12 years ago, our first ever tournament, our first ever Canadian National Blind Hockey Tournament, we had 4 teams with 40 players and 1 goalie per team. And the whole weekend, we were just hoping nobody got injured. Just let's hope we can get through this, just get by it, and that'll be great. And now to see the growth, it's remarkable. The tournament is played at Mattamy Athletic Center, formerly known as the iconic Maple Leaf Gardens, right? So that right there is the price of registration, is what I tell all the players, right? Like to be able to play in a building with so much history in the game and even how it's been revamped, it's just remarkable. We got a great relationship there. This is our 12th annual and we've hosted all 12 at Mattamy Athletic Center. So to think of that as the home of the Canadian National Blind Hockey Tournament is pretty cool and pretty surreal just because how iconic that building truly is, right? So the players love that. This year, in conjunction with the national tournament, we're hosting the International Blind Ice Hockey Series. So that'll be, as I mentioned, Team Canada versus Team USA and the newly put together Team World. So this is the 7th International Blind Ice Hockey Series, and it's the first time for Team World. So super cool, and I think that's huge kudos to a lot of key leaders in the community that are really helping grow this sport around the world, right? So Team World will be made of players from England, Finland, Estonia, and they also do have a couple of Canadians on the team. So the sport's growing. It's growing from coast to coast to coast here in Canada, but you know, our mission is to be world leaders. And the only way you can be a world leader is if you're helping out these other countries, right? So we're hoping off the success from Team World, hope to introduce the sport to some other countries, right? Knock on those doors. I'm excited for Team Canada to have the opportunity to play them. Of course, we've loved playing Team USA in the previous 6 International Blind Hockey Series, but I think the second you're able to grow, shows the development is continuing to go global here, right? So yeah, we try to provide as much of a professional feel in this tournament. I like to say this is their Stanley Cup playoffs. This is what they've been training ever since we named Team Canada, right? This is what all that hard work goes into. So it doesn't matter if representing your country and playing for Team Canada, or if you're playing in an open division or a youth division, try to provide that same professionalism across the board, right? From top down. And I think it gives the whole tournament that feel and that vibe. When Canada hits the ice, there's always a few more cheering fans in Toronto for sure than the last series we played the States in St. Louis.
This is just amazing because on so many levels, but mainly the game of hockey is encapsulated by our experiences, right? We remember certain moments, certain things in our life that kind of define everything, the happiness, sometimes the heartbreak, and being able to create that is something that's really invaluable. It's just so amazing to hear. The growth is unbelievable. And I know you're the forefront of the growth and development of it, but I want you to take us back to some moments along this amazing journey where you're, you know what, this is a keystone moment where I'm always going to remember that through this amazing path, that was a really great moment to just take in.
Yeah, I'll never forget the first time we started our Toronto Junior Ice Owls. First time we started that team, we had from 4 years old to 16 years old, all on the ice, different visual impairments, different skating experience, different playing experience, and trying to figure how we're going to make this work. How do you create a practice plan for something like this? You don't. You just make sure everybody leaves here with a smile and said they had fun. So how do we provide almost an individual practice for every single player here? So I'll never forget that first practice. I'll never forget being named the general manager of the first ever Canadian national team and going down to Pittsburgh to play in the first ever international series. So there are those moments you'll never forget, but I'm looking more forward to the moments that I don't even know I've had the experience of having yet, right? I think to me that's more important, right? And that's what keeps us kind of driving and pushing this sport. We're very optimistic of hosting World Championships, inclusion in the Winter Paralympics, right? I've been glued to the TV on the Olympics and the Paralympics these last few weeks, and it's a goal, it's a dream, it's achievable, but it doesn't just happen in our backyard. It has to happen across the world with us helping these new countries and introducing them to the sport, right? So it's a long goal. It's down the road, but I think if we can get a couple world championships under the belts and just keep growing the sport in these new countries that we're trying to tap into, it's a win-win for everybody.
I want it in the Olympics. You're hearing it here. We need it.
The Paralympic Games, those athletes, despite their disability,
Unbelievable.
representing your country on any stage is something that I know our team holds with the most pride. And I can only speak on our team, but I'm sure every single athlete is definitely the same.
And Luca, I know you touched on your family in the beginning of this, and it's so crazy, even you being a builder in the game of hockey, everyone in this sport, their core that pushes them and drives them is their family. And I just want to give you the floor. Thank the people, whether it's part of your team that you mentioned at Blind Hockey Canada, if it's your brother or anyone. I just want to give you the floor to talk about them and thank them.
I wouldn't be remiss if I didn't thank everybody for all their hard work and their dedication to the sport, right? From my team here, Canadian Blind Hockey, with Matt Morrow and Mel Carey, to our board of directors, to the dozens of volunteers across this country, and even the people outside this country. They're helping to grow it in their own country, in their domestic country. So huge kudos to them and thank them. Of course, my family, without them, I don't think this drive is possible. To see the dedication that my brother had to create this idea, I would say, at first was once an idea to now what the idea has become. But every single person plays their role to make this team work and to win on and off the ice, right? So, huge kudos to thank you for everything that everybody does in this sport, in our community. And, thanks to you guys also for helping to amplify our voice here and create more awareness, right? It's a team game. No one player could win a game by themselves. You really need your group of teammates. And I think that just speaks volume as to how we've grown. We've grown as a team here, and we continue to grow our team to adding more coaches, more players, more volunteers, more partners, more donors, more sponsors, more ambassadors. You got to just keep growing the community.
That's why we do this, brother.
You got it.
That's why we do this whole thing.
And like you said, we're a team. Anything we can do to contribute, to build together, to build awareness, to build this community. So wanted to take a chance for you to, how can everybody find you?
Yeah, I would say don't find me, find Canadian Blind Hockey. I'll tell you that. And then when you want to talk about keeping the team happy, Logan's kept me in the good books with a lot of my players with tape. So yeah, the team's always happy there. No, I'm all jokes aside. Follow us on social media. I always say, if we can get one new follower today than yesterday, that's growth. Follow us, Canadian Blind Hockey. Visit our website, CanadianBlindHockey.com. Follow us across all social media platforms. Just give us a follow. Jump on the train. Let's keep kind of rolling. And that's a big thing for us right now. We're trying to make a really big push on social media. The NHL's helped us a lot with those videos. I never thought I'd be in a room with the likes of those players. And to always idolize them as athletes, but to now look at them as better people. Like Sidney Crosby is a better person than he's a hockey player. And I'll say that right now, right? And we all know how good of a hockey player he is, but he's a better person. It's remarkable to see the side of those superhuman, superstar athletes take time to want to learn about a sport that some of them never knew that existed. And others like, oh yeah, I saw this on the internet, right? Yeah, we're trying to make a big push with social media, and that's been a huge help right now.
We're not going to let you off the hook that easy. We like to do a fun little thing at the end of all of our episodes. Nice little rapid fire, loosen it up, have a good time with it. So we'll just ask you some questions. Besides the legendary former Leafs arena, what is your favorite rink that your team has played at a blind hockey tournament in?
I'm going to have to say the Pittsburgh Penguins practice facility. I believe it's called UPMC. Yeah, that was the first ever international blind ice hockey series that we went on to win gold. So yeah, that's my second favorite arena, I guess.
All right. I know you're in the thick on all levels. What's one of the funniest things that you've ever seen happen through this?
At a blind hockey tournament?
Yeah.
It was actually the first time I see it happen, and it happened at a BHL event in December. A player came out of an intermission with their jersey on backwards. No coaches realized. I'm watching going, what is going on here? Number on the front, logo on the back. Everybody was so dialed into the hockey that I'm the only one that notices this. I'm like, I'm going to slowly kind of sneak by that bench, give the coach a little heads up. But yeah, I've never seen that before in all these years of being in the sport. But hey, when you're that invested into the game and dialed in, and like the BHL, to touch on that for a little bit as the commissioner, that's the best blind hockey that this world's ever going to see. Those players that are helping to push that initiative and lead that cause, they've got dreams and goals and ambitions of it being the first ever professional disabled hockey league, right? And I think to have those ambitions and goals is great. BHL really makes for some incredible blind hockey competition. So when you're that invested, what does it matter if you come out with your jersey on backwards for one shift, right?
Hey, that's your GM mind spotting that. You saw that from a mile away.
Yeah. I'm very observant on our bench. I'm always watching what's going on, and I'm too observant, I guess, just seeing all that.
The game's got to have some swag,
Yep.
and maybe it was just
Swag. You want to talk to Joe Fornese?
He's got swag.
Blind Begsy on TikTok, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he has educated a lot of the older players on our national team about certain words like swag.
I love
it's always funny. I'm looking forward to see what these guys are going to pull up to in games next week with their
no dress code.
Their attire.
No dress code.
we got a relaxed dress code, but I don't want any guys. They know the rules. No jeans, no wife beater t-shirts. Let's have a little bit of class here. You're representing your country. But yeah, in the words of Joe, if you want to show a little bit of swag, sure. Let's see a nice pair of Jordans, maybe a nice collared shirt right now. Those quarter zips are in style, I see. Show yourself a little bit.
Go to you. Who's your favorite NHL player growing up?
Growing up as a Canadian, you idolize Wayne Gretzky, right? You think that's the coolest thing, but it's tough because you're a Leafs fan, so you'll always remember that high stick. But like Doug Gilmour was my childhood. There was nothing I would live for more on a Saturday night than seeing Wendell Clark just crush a guy through center ice. That was my childhood. So Dougie, Wendell, fast track now, and the game is in good hands. The game's in good hands right now. I couldn't pick a single player, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Mitch, just with all the work we've done, the partnerships we've done with Mitch Marner, and there's so many great players. And it's interesting when you idolize a player younger than you, like Sidney Crosby. There's so many good players right now, but growing up, definitely Wendell and Doug, and of course, the great one.
Close your eyes. I want you to tell us 5 years from now, where do you see Blind Hockey Canada being?
I won't say Blind Hockey Canada. I'll say in 5 years from now, I see blind hockey on a stage that's not only global, but is being recognized by the biggest leaders in this sports world. I don't want to call out anybody, but I see opportunity for not only growth, for incredible collaboration. I think collaboration is one of the most powerful things in business. And we've seen it firsthand with the NHL media posts. 5 years, yeah, I see some incredible collaborations that are going to continue to develop and grow. 10 years, though, I see blind hockey on the moon. Like, I see it just growing everywhere. And I think that's a huge kudos to the incredible community that's playing it right now. Doesn't matter where you're from, Canada, the US, Finland, England, Sweden, Russia. The sport's played in those countries, but it's going to grow into many more countries that are also going to play the game.
Mic drop. Unbelievable.
There you go.
Luca,
there you go.
I can't thank you enough. This was one of my favorite episodes. This is so amazing. And I think just the overall growth of the game, we're always talking about it, about everyone and collaboration. It's all of the same values. And I just can't thank you enough, brother. This was great.
No, thank you guys both for just the invite, just chatting, you know what I mean? Love the locker room feel here, bouncing ideas off of each other. And just, it's always great, anytime you could meet and chat with like-minded individuals, especially guys like us that love the game. And let's be real. The game has given so much to us. The least we could do is give a small percentage back to it. That's the truth to me at the end of the day, right? So if I could just provide the smallest amount back to the game compared to what it gave to me, I think it'd be in a good place. And I think it's only going to get to a better place, right? So no, thank you guys just for helping us grow our awareness. As I mentioned, I can't be remiss without thanking you guys so much.
Yeah, and I would just like to say, mimic your statement. That's why we did this. That's why we started this, is because the game had given us so much. Logan and I it was our mission to have a community with these amazing people that are in this game, and anything we could do to contribute to this as well. And it's things like this that make it all worth it. And I know Logan feels the same way, and I couldn't put it into words. And I thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, I think it doesn't matter where you're from. We all share a common love for this game, right? And I think that speaks the volume right there. That's the one thing we all share in common, right? It might not be our citizenship. It might not be who we're cheering for in a gold medal game, but we're sharing the same love for the game. So without saying that, Logan, don't worry. We won't make a bet going on Canada and USA next week.
We'll see. The books are to be told.
Thank you so much for Luca joining us on the show. Like we said, guys, for me and for everybody on the Locker Room Life, these are interviews that we do because this is why we start this platform, to be able to connect people in the hockey world, in this hockey community, to continuously have us growing together, but more importantly, changing the game for the better and I can't say enough about it.
Frankie, literally changing the game. And you guys can see that very well. And as I said before, just the passion and the love that he has garnered for a sport that they basically created is so awesome. And it's just such an honor to be able to talk to a trailblazer and a pioneer in this game of hockey, and to see where blind hockey is going to be in 5 years. And now that we're on the ground level of it right here, it's just super special to us. And thank you again, Luca. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, I just want to thank Luca again for being able to come on and share his platform with us. And I learned so much about the hockey side and everything that goes into it. And it was just a very amazing experience.
Boys, this wouldn't even be possible, not even allowed, not permitted, without the amazing support of our sponsors, Buddy Hockey Club, Best Damn Tape, Cut Shield Hockey, Quench Hydration. So cap on another episode. And all I can say is I'm just grateful to have you guys, grateful to have the sun shining and moderately melting, having my brother here with me in person. Bakes, we miss you, we love you, but just another week that I'm thankful for life and thankful for you guys.
Thank you again for having me here. You'll see our mugs together soon again, but this will be one-time special treat for you. We love you guys.
Love you guys.